Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the weekly Tottenham news review. I'm leader Dorset Spur and I'm here to talk to you about all the stories making the headlines over the last 7 days. And boy, has there been some headlines. So, as I sit here now, it is currently 14:57 on a Friday afternoon, and we are all still anxiously waiting for that final official announcement of Xavi Simmons. Now, it's been reported, we've got David Ornstein, we've got Fabrizio Romano with the here we go and all that kind of stuff. But until he's holding up that shirt, there's always that risk, isn't there? We've been bitten very extensively this window with the Morgan Gibbs White thing and the Eze thing kind of going all the way to the wire. Same with the Savinho situation, that nothing apart from him standing there holding up the shirt and showing that signed contract will convince me that this deal is finally done. But in all reality, it feels like we are ending this week on a massive high with the signing of our number 10. 22 years old, contracts being talked about, 7-year contract that could end up costing us something like £125 million and blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested in any of that, to be honest with you. I'm interested in, are we strengthening this squad with ready-made players that are going to walk into this team? And with this signing, it still feels like that is the case. When we lost out on Gibbs White, that was one thing. We kind of understood it, what was going on there and all the stuff with Marinakis and all the rest of it. So then we go on to Eze, and losing out on that deal made me think to myself, we're just going to end up with some random name just to kind of fill the numbers. And I was really worried about that. But actually, as it seems, we've got a good deal here. We've got a player with masses and masses of potential who is already proven at 22 years old, international footballer, Champions League player. You know, it feels like a very good deal. Now, of course, all these things can go wrong. The player could come and actually bum out for us, and, you know, that well could happen. But until he plays, we won't know. So, as it stands at the moment, very happy that we are still making waves in this window, even though it's late in the day, with 3 days to go now. But it still feels like a good opportunity for us. We've won our first 2 games, so it kind of feels like, you know, we haven't really lost anything just yet. And with the international break coming up now, before it starts to get busy, feels like we've kind of got over the fact that it's late in the day. So as we sit here now, Xavi Simmons to Tottenham. We've had the here we go, just waiting for the final confirmation, which I'm sure to go. Thomas Frank's presser has been delayed to 2:30 from 1:30. Make of that what you will. So anyway, on to other news. We did have a very good week, really, in terms of football inside, because of course before the last video we were talking about going up and having a big test against Manchester City, and boy did we pass that test. 2-0 against City in their own ground, and almost at a canter. We had a really good performance up there, with some standout performances from Kudos, from Polinia, from, I don't know, even defensively, Van der Ven, Porro, like you could name pretty much every player as being the man of the match. That's kind of how it felt. Even Vic coming out with a couple of really good saves. They had their chances, of course they did, but We didn't let them win, and that is the main thing. And we came away with a clean sheet, second clean sheet of the season so far, put us top of the league in the early kick-off for a short period, obviously. But it was great to see that. And we now move on to AFC Bournemouth on Saturday. May not be as easy. I know most people have probably got us in there as favourites for that game, given the start that we've had. But Bournemouth, decent team, decent manager, decimated a little bit with the amount of sales they've had to do and all the rest of it, but doing okay at the moment. So we'll see. I think it'll be a difficult game for us, more difficult than we envisage. But at the same time, I do think it's a game that we should win, and that would be great. Having a win before an international break, 3 matches, 3 wins, be fantastic to continue with that clean sheet as well. How good would that feel going into an international break, given the poor international breaks we've had previously? Be over the moon with that. So in terms of that, Paulinho, he actually won the player man of match week 2. Richarlison winning match week 1, Paulinho winning match week 2. Fantastic for the club. 2 weeks, 2 winners out of 2. Brilliant, and great for him as well. We got a goal, man of the match, player of the week. I mean, that's gone really well for him. So that's really pleasing to see, because obviously we've had great performances from him now. We've had good performances from Kudos. It kind of makes you feel like the signings that we've got come straight into the team and have added to the squad. It's gonna be busier come post international break, and that's why it's important that we get these players in now. And from what I understand, we're not done in the window yet. Make of that what you will. We'll just have to see what kind of comes from there. Paratici is coming back as well. That's been announced. Don Fabio is going to come in. Not sure what that means for Johan Langer, who's been very disappointing in this window. Maybe gets demoted, maybe gets dismissed. Not sure. Haven't really seen what the answer to that is. But great to have Paratici back, who has got us some decent players. Not all of them, but a majority of the team that's playing at the moment are from Paratici. And have kind of given us some good building blocks to work to. So it will be interesting to have him back, see how that all kind of pans out in terms of the structure. They have talked about the structure being moved around this season with some different things going. With Donna Cullen obviously going, Vinay Venkatesham coming in, and the other guy, I can't think what his name is. Someone will remind me in the comments. Who's one of Enoch's top men, who's kind of coming in. Is it Charrington, something like that? Who's basically coming in to look after Enoch's investment. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. Like I say, there's been a few bits and pieces. I've got to be honest, I am a little bit disappointed that Luka Vuskovic has been loaned out. That's been confirmed now that he's off to Hamburg to develop his career. It kind of makes sense, gives him the opportunity to play and play meaningful minutes as opposed to sitting on Tottenham's bench, because I don't think he kind of comes straight into the team for sure. But in my mind, if that means we're still looking for a centre-back until there's another centre-back through the door, I'd have been a bit reluctant to do that. He looked really good, albeit against, I want to say Luton. Thought he did really well. He looks a big lad as well, looks really strong. So a bit disappointed that he's going. Bearing in mind, Dragishin is still injured. So it kind of leaves us with Romero and Van der Ven first in. Danso, big backup. And I want to say the other one, Davis. But Davis and Dragishin doesn't feel like... Davis and Danso doesn't feel like the answer, if I'm honest. And I think Danso more comes in terms of when he wants to play 3 at the back and stuff like that. And we know that Romero and Van der Ven have been subject to some injury issues of late, so I'm a bit concerned about that. Although I'm not sure how far Dragushin is before he comes back, and of course we have got Kota Takai to come in, but don't know enough about him in terms of his ability to know whether he would actually get in the team, maybe ahead of Ben Davies or whatever. I know there's not a lot of love for Ben Davies. Personally, I still got a lot of time for the guy. I think very, very professional, never moans, helps to lead the team, helps settle players in, likeable guy, works hard, never complains, does what he's asked to do when he's asked to do it, plays in the positions he's asked to play in, plays in the system that he's asked to play, and kind of just gets on with it and does a professional job. Is he going to take us to the next level in terms of Champions League and all that kind of stuff? No. Is he a player I would still like to have around? Yeah, I'd still like to have him around actually in a coaching capacity as well. I think he'll be very good for in the future for that sort of stuff. But of course, at the moment, still playing, plying his trade. So I guess he may well play parts in this season, unless of course we get somebody else in who can kind of take over that role. Feels like we are a bit short left-sided centre back, left back, bearing in mind we're using Jed Spence to pick up that role while Destiny Udogie is injured. And talking of Jed Spence, fantastic news for him being called up for the England squad, the full England squad. Long overdue, in my opinion. Long overdue. Should have been in the previous squad, in my opinion. I think he's been fantastic since he's kind of cemented himself into the Tottenham team. Bearing in mind, he could have gone off to Genoa for cheap money. But what a player he's turned out to be. And fair play to him. He's worked hard. He's kept his head down. All the talk of his attitude and all the rest of it do not seem to have been an issue. And with Thomas Frank's no dickhead policy, seems to have passed that very, very well. So I'm really, really chuffed for Jed Spence. I like him. I think he's a great guy. I've met his mum and met his sister, and they are really, really nice people. And it'll be a proud moment for them to see him called up to the full squad. I hope he gets an opportunity to play and get some meaningful minutes to help his career go to the next level. So yeah, really, really chuffed for him. Doncaster Rovers in the Carabao Cup, so really good news from that point of view. Because we're in the Champions League, we couldn't play a lot of fellow Champions League or Europa League counterparts, so got a really good draw. Doncaster Rovers at home, so you'd kind of like to think that means that we can win that game, right? We should be winning that game and going into the next level, which would be great to see us still moving in the right direction, keeping in all the competitions. And of course, the big news as well coming outside of that is we have had their Champions League draw yesterday, and kind of looks like we're in a decent pot. We've done quite well out of that. So just to kind of run through it, we've got Dortmund at home, Villarreal at home, Slavia Prague at home, Copenhagen at home, and we have got Paris Saint-Germain away, Frankfurt away, Bodo Glimt away, and Monaco away. Now you're looking at all of those and you're going, bear in mind how far we took Paris Saint-Germain. You've got to think to yourself, that's doable. We could get out of that group. We could be in the top half to get out of that and go into the knockout stages. Who would have thought of that? To be honest with you, and who was it who was saying that in terms of the Europa League you won't be playing Bodo Glimt and Frankfurt and teams like that in the Champions League? Well, it looks like we are. And bear in mind the performances we had last season with all the injuries, all the problems, all the negativity. You've got to think to yourself, that's a good draw. That's a good draw. So yeah, really, really pleased with that as well. And of course, I do want to call it out. I will call it out. because he's part of our history now. The man who brought us a European trophy, the first one in 41 years, helped us believe again, and in my view, helped us build to where we are now, going in for players the type of players that we're going for. It was the 60th birthday of Ange Postecoglou. Happy birthday, Ange. I think you deserve some love. I know there are people out there that really didn't like Ange, really didn't like his tactics, really didn't like the football and all the rest of it. And I get all that. And I agree with a lot of it. You know, losing 22 games, 17th in the league, terrible, terrible, terrible. It was an awful season from that point of view. But as a human being, I thought he was a great person. I thought his take on a lot of stuff was really, really good. I liked the way he engaged a lot of the time. I liked the way he built that camaraderie amongst the players and helped them believe that they could go on and win that trophy. And they did, and gave us one of the best nights of our lives. One of the best nights of our lives. Let me try and do that again with my teeth in. So yeah, I wish him a big happy 60th birthday, big milestone. One's coming up very close for me as well. But yeah, brilliant for him. I hope he's back in management very, very soon. So just to recap, brilliant week. If it ends with the signing of Xavi Simmons, I will be over the moon with that week. It's been quite negative, you know, with all the ups and downs about, are we going to sign anyone? Are we going to sign anyone? And all that kind of stuff. But as it sits here now, we had a really good week in terms of a great result at City, great draw in the Carabao Cup, great draw in the Champions League. International break coming up to give us a chance to take it all in. A good opportunity to win another game on Saturday against Bournemouth, one that you would think that we should win. And if we end that with the signing of Xavi Simmons, it will be classed as a very, very good week for us, and actually make that window feel an awful lot better than it's been. It's felt very, very negative. But if you consider that Xavi Simmons, Mohamed Kudus, Polina, you've got your central attacking midfielder, you've got your right winger, you've got your number 6. Really, all we're missing is that left-sided winger to replace Son, and of course a left back to support Jed Spence in that position, because he's obviously got to cover the right back as well. Unless, of course, we use Archie Gray for that. Anyway, one more to come in would be fantastic. 2 more would be unbelievable. But I understand we are still pushing. So 3 days to go. But if we can get the Simmons one over the line today, I'll almost be happy with that window, even if it ends like that. That's just my opinion. I have to say that. I don't represent the feelings of Chris or anybody else on the channel. This is just my view. You're entitled to yours as well. Please feel free to correct me of how you're feeling about this. But at this moment in time, I'm feeling pretty positive. Hopefully Chris will come up with the positive news on the channel later on, if not whilst I'm recording this, to say that Simmons has officially signed. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Rambled on 18 minutes. Thank you for watching. If you've got this far, please do consider giving Chris a thumbs up in this. Consider subscribing to the channel, because they all count, and he is edging ever closer to that 200,000. Unbelievable. It's not going to cost you anything, but it keeps you aware of all the different stuff that's going on the channel. So please do give him that love. And as always, I'll leave you with up the Spurs.